And on this episode of Spill the Tea with LLIB, we have the incredible Keighley Butfoy. So, spill the tea on what the journey as a woman in business has been like for you so far.
Well, it's only recently really actually begun. Yeah. So this year has been, it's been amazing actually. It's been an amazing journey. I mean, this wasn't even planned. Like,
okay. Yeah. Tell me more about that.
Basically, so it wasn't even planned, Claire. Basically, so I've always loved Pilates. Like, it's been in my life for like 10 years. Sort of during the COVID period, I was like, I want to get really good at it, you know, like really good. So I found this amazing studio locally, started going, and I was like, gosh, it really combines the breath, like with Pilates. And I never really like had that before at different places I've been to. Anyway, so that sort of happened. And then last September? Anyway, I went to Fern Cotton's Happy Place Festival, right? Oh. And I went on my own because I was going on this journey, and I was like, you know, I'm going to go on my own, have a lovely weekend on my own. Yeah. And I met a lady in the TP tent, the talk stage tent, and she was telling me all about Reiki, and we got chatting, and I was like, oh, cool, and like just put it to one side. And then I met a lady as I was leaving the festival, and she gave me this belief coding leaflet and said, oh, you must go to like the free masterclass. And I was like, oh, sounds cool. Took the leaflet, put it, you know, as you do, put it in my pocket and thought nothing else of it. And a month later, Jess Cunningham, who's the founder, she was doing like a free masterclass, and I was just so drawn to it. And I was like, oh, you know, I was like, I need to give this a go. And did the masterclass. And honestly, it's been since then. I've just been on this, this journey, and it all kind of started, you know, I was like, gosh, I can actually combine Pilates with Reiki. And now Reiki came into it because it was a, like an add-on that you get with belief coding. How mad was that? I was like, you know, you can, it all just came together, and so unexpectedly.
That. So what did you do before? Like where were you like before all of this happened?
Wow, I was in the NHS for like 10 years. Okay. So basically, I was in health visiting, and I'll speak about this maybe a bit later on, but basically I was training to be a nurse for about a year. I was in health visiting, and that was always my, you know, sort of my big passion. It was children's nursing. And I just wanted to be a nurse, but I did it for a year. And I thought, I can't do this. It's just not for me. Like I've always done a job. I was in childcare previous to that. And I've always done a job, you know, to do with helping people. But it's just, you know, the shift work and everything. It was just too much. And it was, you know, and I love the NHS, you know, and it's, you know, we're so fortunate to have it. And, you know, but it is just, it's just, and I was laying in the bath one night, and I was a year into the nursing degree, and I was laying there and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was my split decision, that intuitive gut feeling in the bath that night that changed.
Where the bubbles.
Literally with bubbles in that bath bomb,
and the bath bomb. I bet you smelled really nice. Like I love a good bath, and that is where, you know, most of us women do get those ideas of not necessarily the ideas of what we want to do moving forward, but we can reflect on what's happening with us, and we can just take a breath for a second, or a couple of minutes maybe, if someone isn't like banging on the door to get in. But I love that. So did you do Reiki before? Like, when did your Reiki journey start? When did your Pilates journey start? Like, have you ever done that previously before?
So not teaching, no. Okay. So that all started this year. So I did my training back in April, and then I've been kind of, you know, just, you know, getting different, you know, sort of classes here and there. So that's, I've been combining that this year, and, you know, so it's been, as I say, it's been like a bit of a whirlwind of a year, but an amazing whirlwind, you know. It's been, one thing after another, but in a really good way. But the Reiki's only literally been a year now. So I did the course. So I did the belief coding, you know, sort of in-person training, and then was working towards the accreditation, which I'm still yet to do. I need to do it, but Pilates has taken over. But anyway, Reiki, I just fell in love with it. Yeah. You know, I'd never dabbled in, you know, I'd never done energy healing before.
Have you ever had it on you before?
It was only from the Fern Cotton Festival when this lady was telling me, and then I went and, you know, had it as an additional course that you could do with the belief coding. And it was honestly since then. Yeah. But I have had my actual healing journey did start when I was 16. Okay. So I'd been introduced to different healing modalities. It's a long story, I won't go into on here, but I basically had a bit of a touch, you know, a near-death sort of experience when I was 15. I had an operation that went drastically wrong, and it was all linked to allergies.
Oh my God, we need to go into that.
So
Like,
did you?
That must have been quite traumatic.
It was horrendous. So all of my teenage years, basically in secondary school, I just had this permanent streaming cold, and it was all linked to polyps in my nose.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. And, you know, eventually after about 4 years, I had my operation. And it was meant to be, you know, I was 15 years old, you know, I was meant to be, I'm 32 now, but it was meant to be a straightforward in and out surgery, you know, in a day. And I ended up in intensive care on a life support machine. So it was all to do with bleeding. Yeah, I literally they just basically couldn't stop me hemorrhaging. Yeah. And then it was basically, I came out and I, you know, obviously took a while to, you know, kind of process all of that and stuff. And
at 15.
15.
Wow.
It's madness.
And then you went on that healing journey from
16? Basically I came out of, because the reason I had the polyps, it was all to do with allergies. You know, I was allergic to airborne. I was allergic to, I had a rabbit and hamsters growing up, but I was allergic to them. So I'd always be, you know, like you do when you've got hay fever, you're just itching and, you know, runny nose. But the allergies basically caused my, polyps, which led me to go down that horrible experience. So,
oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I came out of hospital, and then I don't know how long after, maybe a few months later, I remember sitting in my bedroom. It must have been, maybe a few months after, because I was 16 when I found this modality. I was sat in my bedroom and I was like, I can't, the NHS, you know, the NHS just give me tablets, you know, they give me nasal sprays to reduce the inflammation. And I was like, there's got to be something else. Yeah. There has to be a way, you know. And I sat there and I found this incredible man, unfortunately he's passed now, but incredible man called David Stevens. And he was a chiropractor by trade. And he founded a modality called chirokinetic therapy.
Wow.
And I was like, he was in London and in Leatherhead as well, which is local to home. And I was like, it was back then, you know, I was 16, I had no money, and I was like, and it was, you know, 750 quid, but I was like, I need to give this a go. Yeah. So I did, I had like 10 sessions and went back to the NHS and had an allergy test done, and allergies were gone. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's another world out there. There's another world of us being able to heal our body. And, you know, it's been, you know, I've obviously, you know, I've been having that treatment for years. Like every year I still have it to this day. Just to keep me sort of ticking over. But yeah, sort of that's
so
been there.
It did. And my next question is, can you share a pivotal moment or a challenge? But I think that's a challenge. But if we can focus on the business side, so I know you're really into business, but have you had any challenges in this year in business that you?
The biggest thing for me was probably giving up the NHS, because I had to do it at the beginning of the year, you know, when you know, going into all the different trainings, you know, this year doing 3 different trainings alone, and it was just getting too much. Yeah. And then, so I think it was back in June, I had to sort of say, you know, full time I can't. I had to make that cut decision. And then so what I did was I didn't listen to my intuition, because my intuition said to me, just go all out, you know. So I took a nannying job on, thinking that I can do 2 days a week nannying and then concentrate on the business. But even that was just too much, because, you know, So basically a few months ago was like, no, I just need to go all out.
And you say sometimes, you know, that, you know, even that was just too much. But what I heard then was it wasn't enough for you, in terms of it was the wrong thing for you to be doing.
Absolutely.
So those 2 days needed to be filled with something that you know, passionately wanted to do. Although you would make a great nanny.
Thank you.
And I'm sure my little one would absolutely adore you. But you've got to. And I think if anything, with our guests on the show today, you know, that intuition and that gut feeling is absolutely you've got to listen to it.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that was a really brave decision that you made.
Everyone was like, you're mad.
I was just about to say, my next question was, what did everybody else say? Because my family, you know, when I left the Royal Navy, they were just like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, geez, you know. And then I had my little boy, and it was just a case of, what is going on? You know, it was just change, so much change. So what was the reaction that you got from leaving the NHS?
I mean, you know, my family is so supportive, you know, I must say that if they're listening now, you are so supportive, and I'm so grateful.
So supportive.
But, my mum was like, God, are you sure? And I guess it's because, back then in my mum and dad's, generation, they wouldn't have taken that leap. And, and I am very lucky.
There's
I
no
do.
other options as well.
But they were, they were a bit like, are you sure? And even to this day, my mum says to me, whenever I'm having a stressful day with it all and stuff, she'll say, she'll be like, do you not just want to go and get a normal job? And I'm like, no, never. I was like, what would I do? There's nothing else I want to do, literally.
Get a real job. Yeah, we get that a lot sometimes. I think we say it to ourselves as well.
Yeah.
But both myself and Cal have always said, like, we're not employable now. Like, we just couldn't be, nobody... We wouldn't be able to do what we did with our families and at the holidays and, all the little bits that we do take. Even the school run, that school run was just awful, trying to get to work and having to drop my little ones off at the breakfast club and pick them up from after school club. That was just so stressful. It was awful. And now I wake up and I look out my window and I see traffic. Like, the traffic is awful. And I don't live on a really main busy road, but the traffic is awful. And I always count my blessings that I now can walk to the school with my littlest. And I don't have to do that whole commute that I did for so long, 14 years. I'm so grateful. So no, that's incredible. So you learned a lot, obviously a lot of lessons that have come from that decision, that challenge, and a lot of lessons in business. So that's incredible. Do you look back and think that was the right thing to do?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's still, God, there's so much that it's only, sort of just really the beginning of it all. And I need to actually piece it all together next year is going to be the year of kind of just bringing everything together. But absolutely. That. I mean, if I wasn't, like now, as you say, when you've got that time, you can go and network and you can go out and, and sort of, talk to inspirational people and just, be in that energy of what you really want to, work towards and just, meet lovely people. And
I love that. No, there's a lot of pressure and stress, but it's a different type and it's how you want to react to that challenge with your own business. So what advice do you have for others going through any similar situations? So someone's in the bath listening to Spill the Tea with LLIB with a little bit of Lush, because we love a little bit of Lush.
Can't beat Lush.
And they're thinking, shouldn't I, facing a challenge in their business, or they're making that decision to create their own business. What advice would you give to them?
Gosh, there's two main ones. And it is, when you've got that goal and that vision, the vision is just massive, isn't it? And you've got to have the heart, it's got to come from that place of passion and, and when you've got that passion and you want to go for it, and it's, and it's just believing in yourself and also believing in what you're wanting to create, basically. So, I mean, because I'm so passionate about helping people heal like I was able to when I was 16. And, with movement, it's so powerful, isn't it? It's, so if, whatever your passion may be, just keep hold of that through the roller coaster ride, because it's amazing, isn't it? But it's, you can have days where you're like, oh gosh, like, what do I do? Where do I, what do I focus on today? And, and also as well, like something I've not, I need to practice this myself going forward into next year, but really focusing on what energy you're in with your business, and I mean, I've been in a very masculine energy this year, thinking I need to do. But actually, when I've taken that time to step back and be in a bit more flow, like I was last year, when this all just flowed last year, and it all came to me just from me flowing in my feminine energy. So I'd say, if you're starting out or, whichever part of the business you're in, however far into your business you are, just enjoy it and also be in flow with it rather than thinking, because you sort of think, oh, you've got to be on the go, you've got to do all the time, but then that just creates that overwhelm, doesn't it? And
absolutely. And I think we do the do with everything else that comes around having a business. Sometimes you get so distracted with the emails, with the the campaigns, with everything else, that you're taken away from the thing that you love the most. And one of the things that I absolutely love, what our previous guest said, was to practice what you preach as well. So if you are a healer, if you are, anything that you are given to other people, then make sure you're getting that from somewhere as well. I'm a counsellor by trade, and I have a counsellor. There's no trauma, there's nothing big happening, but I have here there for when my bottle of pop gets a little bit too fizzy and I need to talk.
Absolutely.
It could be about anything. But yeah, practice what you preach. So
to,
go to Reiki,
yeah.
have that yourself, and
Yeah.
really be in the business, and in the passion that made you start the business. Definitely. I love that. And I love the fact that you came here on your own as well, and you chose to stay in a hotel the night before, to gift yourself some time.
Yeah.
I think as women in business, we are forever pouring into everybody else. Okay, what can we do? Who can we be for that person today? Be everything to everyone. So taking that step back and saying, well, what are you going to do for yourself today in whatever business that you have is really, really important.
Absolutely. It's such a big thing, isn't it, at the moment as well out there in society, because it didn't used to be, the norm used to be just putting everyone else first. I mean, I'm such a massive people pleaser. Still need to work on that, but it takes time, and there's always work to, there's always, 100%. Healing that can be done.
Yeah. But it's about tapping into that and saying, well, why am I a people pleaser? Why do I, what is the fear around someone just saying, no, I don't like that, or I didn't like the way she did it. We're not all made in sausage factories. Exactly. We're not all the same. We're going to have different opinions. We're going to have different views. And it's about respecting other people's opinions and views and how they do things. If they're not hurting anybody, then, there's no bother. So why are we so, worried about what other people would think or saying no? And the best way to move forward from being a people pleaser is to just keep saying that to yourself and remind yourself that no is okay. You don't need a sentence after no. Someone said to me once, you don't need the sentence after no. You can say, no, that's not for me. Absolutely. And not have something, because you don't need that connective. It's a, no, that's not for me, and that's okay. So I love that. So building a successful business often involves taking calculated risks. So now that you're in business and your business is really successful, could you share one of those risks that you've taken and that you feel like it's paid off, and that you can share the approach that you took?
It was probably to do with, this year, sort of giving up the NHS really, and, sort of focusing on, focusing on the journey really, and actually, so it was probably, that was probably the biggest risk this year I've taken.
How does taking risks make you feel in business?
It does really. It's empowering, isn't it? I mean, it's scary, but it's there's always that question of, was that the right thing to do? It's when I gave up the nannying, that was the biggest risk. And it was emotional. I built the tie with the children. That was probably the most emotional thing I've done this year. And I'd only known the children for a few months, but it was but I knew in my gut I had to, because I just couldn't, I couldn't give to everything. I had to rein it in somewhere. And obviously, I want to grow, and I want to be able to, focus on what I love. Which I love. That sounds bad. I love nannying, but what my future, what my vision is.
It's your future, absolutely, 100%. And you can support more with what you're doing now. Absolutely. So, can you share 3 tips within your niche that will support any women in business who are watching this episode?
I would say, just from my own experiences this year, really, is be, do the inner work. Look after yourself on that journey of looking after others, really, because it's powerful, and also really celebrate yourself as well. It's only recently I've started to do this, because it's been as I say, it's been go this year, but it's, celebrate every month, celebrate your win, not even win, celebrate your,
100%.
You've got to celebrate yourself, because otherwise you look back and you think, wow, so celebrating along the journey, and
I love that.
And also the one thing that is so important, is actually not taking on everyone else's opinions. I mean, take it on, but actually, do what feels right for you, and come, and be guided by yourself, your intuition, and your, 100%. Because it's easy to take on and then to not do things and to pursue things when, you can always take the easy route, and people can, and people can sway you and then pull you back. But actually, just, obviously appreciate and be guided by people, but ultimately do what's
with
right
opinions, they bring emotions as well. So when you're taking on
Yeah.
someone else's opinion, you're also potentially taking on their fear of what it is that you're going to be doing moving forward.
Absolutely,
That's why it's
yeah.
really important to have someone within your business who is impartial to you as a person, and they're not emotively connected with you, and they can see it from a business point of view instead of a what does this mean for me as a human over actually what does this mean for the business. So that's really important as well.
Definitely.
But one of those things, we have a closing tradition on the show, and Cal's not here, so don't feel swayed to make it the best way. But if you were to make a cup of tea, my opinion, don't take my opinion on this or Cal's. If you were to make it for myself or Cal, how would you make the perfect cup of tea?
So, as you guys know, I'm not a tea drinker, but I'm a herbal tea girl. But basically, do you know what? You guys are gonna be really happy, because basically, there's two ways, and there's two ways, and actually. So my mum growing up, and I live back at home now, but my mum growing up, she's so you boil the kettle and tea bag in, and then she puts the milk in with the tea bag.
Before the water?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I know. So I've always been taught that was the only way I knew, literally. Yeah. And then she would pour the water in and then take the tea bag out last. But I've learned new ways now. So
what is your new ways?
Taught new ways.
Just from this podcast today, have you taught no. Or in life?
Just in life, yeah. From leaving home. Yeah.
Leaving home. How do you now make a cup of tea?
So you make a cup of tea. So the tea bag goes in, then the water, and then you let it do its thing, give it a little swish round, get it to the right colour, and then you remove the tea bag, and then the milk goes in last. And it's, because I can't go by taste, because I'm not, but I mean,
you're not a tea drinker.
maybe about that much, and then the rest
I'm going to let you off because you don't drink tea, so you don't know the effect that you're having on that person who's kindly drinking your cup of tea.
People,
but I do prefer your mum's way over the other way, because at least the tea bag gets a little bit of love. No, your mum's a good egg, definitely. I love that. Thank you so much for being such an incredible guest today on the show.
Thank you.
Yay.